Alrighty, so we have the Extreme Class mission for the Sword of Hope Trunks fight. Now, this one is a doozy, especially for you guys like me out there that do not have LR Merge Zamasu. It's going to come down to a little bit of luck, I will admit, but I think all in all, it was not too bad. You guys will see in this run that we handled things pretty well, in my opinion, and ultimately we end up getting the W just by, what's the word, like sheer persistence, determination, grit, if you will. But all jokes aside, what we have to do in this video is beat the Sword of Hope Trunks Divine Wrath Immortal Will stage using a team of extreme class units, but the kicker is we have to use one of every typing. So no matter what, that means we are going into it type disadvantage in the second phase because we must bring an int unit. And then one thing that also comes to be a kicker in this one is we don't really ever get our rotations properly kind of set the way I would like them to. So in an ideal world, what I would like to have is damage reduction sort of bail out STR Cooler there in the middle, and then with these items especially, and then have him linked up with another STR LR Cooler so we could do a ton of damage, right? That Cooler is not to be messed with, especially in these, and when he has type advantage, right? Like, you know, he's obviously aged a bit, but when you have type advantage on an enemy that's like super class and you have extreme STR Cooler running around, he absolutely is still a force to be reckoned with. And even right here with the Whis active, I kind of was caught off guard by how much I take right here with Cooler, right? Like I take a lot per normal right here. So I'm thinking like, oh boy, we're gonna go through it this fight, right? So 165 right there, so that's half of my HP in one go. And then this Golden Frieza with the damage reduction item up, it will not be a problem whatsoever. So here we go, boom. I get that super in, and I'm not worried about him taking damage one bit, just because, again, you know, we already have the damage reduction on top of an item, so this Frieza not being duped out is definitely, like, a hindrance in terms of how good he's going to look, but I think you guys will find in this run that, you know, it doesn't take, like, an exuberant, like, insane amount of luck to get through it with items, right? Because, like, again, I don't really feel that you need to see a no-item run for this, because, like, what are we trying to do here, right? Like, we're just trying to get the stones, get our, you know, get our new title and stuff like that, and no item run I don't really believe is necessary, especially for a guide like this, right? Because, you know, at the end of the day, like a lot of the units on this team are not like that duped out, right? Like Golden Frieza is 55%, we have my LR Cooler is 69%, my Junior is 55%, and then right here I'm thinking like, again, like this is one of those rotations right here that I'm talking about, right? Where I'm just like, oh boy, our rotations are not set up because I don't have a slot 1 unit for this setup right here. All these guys need to super first. So I am pretty nervous and I'm like, okay, that's not good. I have to use an item way earlier than I would have liked to. I would have liked to have saved a couple more items for the physical phase, but here we are. And, you know, we have to use one a little bit early because, again, I just don't have a slot 1 unit that's going to be able to tank you know, what this Trunks is bringing to the table. And also, so if we want to go over the, I guess if you've been paying attention, you've probably seen what I'm doing for each typing by now, but if you haven't been paying attention, for Extreme STR, we are running Cooler and LR Metal, or LR Cooler, excuse me, so LR Cooler Leader, and then STR Cooler TUR EZA as the other STR unit, so you know, you get 2 of 1 typing, essentially, in these runs, right? And then for Tech, we have the TUR EZA Golden Frieza. For AGL, we have LR Golden Frieza. For Int, we have our good buddy my Junior, and then for Physical, we have what is it? We have LR Metal Cooler. So with LR Metal Cooler, you guys should probably know he's there to just take a couple hits, build up a decent bit, and then in the last phase, revive for us. Because, you know, that revival can serve to be pretty valuable throughout this run, just because it makes life a little bit easier for everybody. Could potentially bail us out of having to use an item, but in this case, I believe even with the item active, he still takes a metric ton of damage, right, when he gets the revival. But that's why you do it with him, right? That's why you keep that, that's why you have it handy. So you guys will see here, it's like, you know, this rotation, because we have the double Whis up, is like, you know, not bad at all. But again, right here, it's like, I never am able to kind of flesh out the rotations the way I want to, really. And that really, hurts this run, because it puts us in a situation where it's like, we're probably going to take a lot of damage. And one thing you guys will see in this run in specific coming up is we get where we do get lucky is we get lucky with what is it? Tech Golden Frieza not taking any hits when his damage reduction proc isn't full, right? Because you know that, if you don't know, that Golden Frieza is on an HP threshold, so if he does not hit the HP threshold, his damage reduction is not as high, and we end up kind of lucking out and he doesn't take a hit on one of these turns. But you guys will see, like, I think that's kind of like an eye for an eye situation, because our rotations were bad, so, you know, the game's kind of throwing me a bone just a tad, right? So like this turn goes pretty quick, this turn 3. We were able to build that Metal Cooler a little bit, and even with an item active and type advantage, you guys are still seeing he's taking a ton on normals, but this Trunks and the Zamasu counterpart of this event, they end up hitting really, really hard. So it's like I'm not taking any of that really into too much consideration, right? It's just the way this is. So now we're kind of like, okay, now Cooler can go into big boy mode, and of course, my junior's got to rain on the parade, right? So it's like we got to get through the giant form, but I guess that'll give me an opportunity to kind of give you my thoughts on just the way that they've handled the difficult content for part 3. And don't think this is going to lead into a rant, because I think they did a very good job. The one thing I'm not a fan of is the Entrusted Will mission. That is kind of like my biggest gripe. I think that is just a little bit too extreme in terms of like how hard you're trying to make this, because like it's just a little. I think it's a bit much, right? Like that is a bad team that does not have a good leader. Like you really got to think outside the box to build a team like that. So it's like it's not the worst thing in the world. Like we've seen worse. Like you know the GT Bosses mission, the Kuroda Body and Mind mission for the GT Goku event. If you guys were playing at that time when it came out. Like those were on that level where it's just like, dude, this team sucks, and we got to go through and play, you know, a really difficult event with that going on, and it just makes things a little bit difficult, right? But all in all, I'd say the Zamasu Red Zone, I think because global players are not used to Omega's AoEs in 2 phases, I think they're a little bit more phased than the JP players are about the turn 1 AoE for Fuse Zamasu. So all in all, I think they did a pretty phenomenal job with part 3. We won't address the elephant in the room. You guys, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, but he was not designed for this content, unfortunately. And, when I say not designed, I mean not even close. But it happens. I mean, bad EZAs are they're bound to happen. It's just unfortunate that one that people were really looking forward to happened to be that's what it happened to happen, right? You know. I think it should just like, I think you could also take a positive out of it where you could just appreciate the good EZAs that we get and like really be like, okay, well, I'm glad that AGL Zamasu is as good as he is, because he shall not be named is not on par, right? But again, I mean, if you let one EZA just get completely down a celebration for you, I believe that is a bit dramatic. I think all in all, they've done pretty well this celebration, but certainly a mishandling of something that a lot of people were looking forward to, and I'm not going to try and beat around the bush with that. It's just the way it goes sometimes, right? And we're just like, it's just general conversation, because I mean, you guys are looking at this. I mean, it's just my junior's like doing no damage. It's type disadvantage, and he's trying his best, right? But this does end up coming in handy for the run because it takes away a super on this turn, so that's helpful. And you guys will see, my junior actually, like with the, granted we had damage reduction up, but he does a pretty decent job, right? Like he does a triple super here, type disadvantage, and then, you know, doesn't get absolutely clobbered by the normals at 55%. So it's like, imagine if we had this guy with a couple dupes in him, it'd probably be a different story. But the game wasn't very nice to me, and I didn't really get a chance to summon on the Zamasu banner as much as I wanted to, but that's life. So here we go. I believe are we done with this now? I think that's one hit. Yeah, so now we're out of the Majunior phase. And again, this is where I tell you that I luck out, because Golden Frieza didn't have his damage reduction up as much as we would want it to, and then I gotta put, like, this is my only option, right? I gotta take the damage reduction, and I believe he ends up taking like a cool 60k per normal right here. So it's like, you know, he does get lit up pretty good, but we just have enough, right? 90k, yeah. So it's like, one more, and then we're good, right? So that's that 200% leader skill coming in clutch with all that HP that we have, right? So that could have been a disaster, but after we do all the supers and whatnot, we'll be good to go. And so basically the rest of this run is just Cooler sweep, right? Cooler is just in here doing his thing. He's doing a ton of damage. Really just kind of thinning him out, and then once we finally get, like, I don't even know if we get a turn of Cooler supported with Cooler, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't get the active skill with one of the Coolers, which is really annoying, because that active skill, like, whew, it hits, right? It goes. And does an attack break. So I know we get the active skill with one of the Coolers. I believe it's mine, because the friend one is linked up with the LR Metal Cooler, and that's kind of like the one that you would want. Just because, you know, 3 more dupes really, it can make a difference. And, you know, is mine? Yeah, I think it's still 69%. It's either 69% or 79%. I forget, to be honest. I want to say it's 69%. Yeah, like my summons were not crazy this year, unfortunately. Just not like World Tournament Goku was really like the highlight of my summons, aside from pulling Vegito, right? he he kind of saved what's been a nightmare, in my opinion. So there you go. Majunior's doing his thing, 3 supers, and we're really moving at this point. And again, it's like, this is going to be so much easier if you have Zamasu, if you have like that team you can run, just because you're going to have a lot more like credible options. And Zamasu is obviously more power crept to this kind of event compared to what we're working with here. So this is where we kind of got to get freaky deaky, because yeah, so this is where we would have gotten the turn where you know, Cooler would have been linked up with the support, would have had legendary power active. This would have been a bananas turn, but Trunks has other plans. So this is why we saved the item, you know, or we had to use the item, but we lose a turn of an item, unfortunately. But again, that was the only play there. We got to take the revival when we get it. So we do get the revive, and now we just have to kind of, we have to finish this out, right? Because we're in a good spot. We're going to have damage reduction for the next 2 turns. We're going to have type advantage with both of the coolers, but unfortunately we lost our support with... what is it? I'll get it, with STR transforming Cooler, right? Because that would have been a very helpful turn for LR Cooler, but again, it's just kind of the way it worked out. It didn't, we weren't blessed with that just because of rotations and stuff like that. Like I said, I wasn't really able to ever get this team set up the way I wanted it to, but we do the Cooler active skill here. You know, we got a bunch of links active, legendary power, and all that fun stuff. It would have been better if we would have had LR or STR transforming Cooler right here, but again, just some unlucky breaks. But even with like, this is just proof that even with like a kind of a sloppy run and a little bit of luck, right? Like, because I mean, at the end of the day, most of like this gameplay is just luck based, right? It's just like making sure supers are in the right spot if you don't have like a scout or anything like that. But right here we have the additional damage reduction for Golden Frieza on top of the one that he already has, because it has kind of faded a bit, but Cooler's going to do a ton of damage. And then on the next turn, it's basically we're in a race against the clock here. We have 2 turns left with damage reduction, and we need to win within those next 2 turns. That's the situation that we're in, and it's going to come down to our Coolers doing additional supers, getting in crits, and really kind of weeding down that health bar a bit. And, you know, we're pretty close at this point, right? So it's like if we were in theory to take damage right here, that would help us out because we'd be able to do Cooler's active skill and stuff like that. Or actually, I think it's based on attacks, but we'd be able to do the other Cooler's active skill, and that would basically like seal the deal, you know. And the way it kind of works out, you'll see on the next turn, we end up having to put the regular Cooler in slot 1, because I'm thinking it's like we don't have that revival like buffer anymore, right? So it's like LR Metal Cooler in slot 1, if he takes a super right there, we're just dead anyway. So it's like I have to make a gamble in order to win this one. It's like I put Cooler in slot 1 and pray. It's like, please just don't super right here. Do not be a super, because it wouldn't have been a problem if I would have been able to do Cooler's active skill, because we could have attack broken it, but unfortunately we did not get that break. So you know, again, it's going to take a little bit of luck to get through this, and as is all hard content in this game, you just kind of need a stroke of luck, and once you get that stroke of luck, you should be good to go. And then you guys are seeing that play out right in front of you, where I did get that stroke of luck. We get the Metal Cooler active skill, and then the idea is we have to put the STR Cooler in slot 1, just because if you know, I just don't trust Metal Cooler's ability to do the damage that we need to do, even with this little bit of HP left. So I'm like, let me just take the type advantage, get Cooler to do his thing, and hopefully that's enough. So you know, what do I always say in my videos? You guys are seeing this, so obviously you know that the gamble paid off, but again, it might not for you, and then you just have to come back in and try it again. So all in all, I'd say that this mission, you know, is going to be tough for sure. Like, let's not beat around the bush with that, but I think all in all, it shouldn't be too bad for you, especially if you're using items. So again, right here, it's like I check defense, I'll take 312 with type advantage. A super, we're in trouble, because that super hits hard, right? But you'll see right here, no super, we win. So extreme class mission for the Sword of Hope Trunks Divine Wrath Immortal Will stage, taken down, not too much of an issue, but a very tough run, right? So, or a very tough event, right? Went pretty smooth. Again, just with items and a support member, you should be good to go. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know down below what you guys use for the run. Leave a like if you did enjoy. Subscribe if you are new, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of my Dokkan Battle content. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.